Today, we are going to be talking about how to use webinars to generate new customers in your business. I started using webinars a few years ago, and when I first started doing them, I found them a bit weird because you sort of sit in front of your computer and you don't get to interact with anybody. But one of the things I did find was my conversion rate from the webinar to whatever it is I was offering was just as high, if not a little bit higher. And that sort of shocked me a little bit, to be honest with you. The good thing about webinars as opposed to seminars is it doesn't cost you very much to do. They're very simple to do. All you need is a good presentation. You need the confidence to be able to present your presentation to a group of people, and away you go. The other good thing about a webinar as opposed to a seminar is, I don't know if you've run a seminar or workshop before, but if you only have 3 or 4 people turn up, it feels a bit, awkward, a bit more like a meeting rather than an event. As where online, if you only have 2 or 3 people turn up, doesn't matter. They don't know how many people are there, and it's just you and your computer. You give it all the energy you can, a bit like this, a bit like a podcast or a video. You just, it's just you and the microphone. That's it, right? The other thing that webinars do is it's easy for your prospects to be able to attend, and you can record them. They can attend a recorded webinar and get the same knowledge, information, and offer that you made earlier in a recorded session. Now, webinars is something that I think a lot of businesses could use but don't. In fact, I'm surprised to see how few businesses are using webinars as a tool. And there's a few different ways we can use it. So I'm going to give you some ideas of how you can use webinars in your business, and I'm going to give you the tool that I use to run webinars, and it's very, very a great tool or software. And I use a thing called GoToMeeting. If you go to gotomeeting.com, they have one called GoToWebinar. So you sign up for GoToMeeting, and then you use the GoToWebinar platform. It's very easy to use, and I think you can start off with an account that allows you to have 100 people on your webinar. A lot cheaper than hiring venues that can take 100 people, let me tell you. I've tried a few different tools, and I've kept coming back to GoToWebinar. And I'm not paid by them to say that, but I can honestly tell you that out of all the ones that I've tried, it has been the best. It is a little buggy itself. It's software, and it relies on you having a decent internet connection. You don't have to upload your presentation beforehand, which some of them make you do that, which I think sucks. You just need a computer with a microphone. Let's look at some ways that we can use webinars in your business to increase your sales, because really that's what it's all about. So the first thing is that you can use it as a lead magnet. What's a lead magnet, I hear you ask? Well, it's some offer that you make to your prospects, to your target market, that will encourage them to give you their details and interact with you. It could, you've probably seen free ebooks. This is probably the easiest way for me to explain it to you. If you've ever seen an offer to download someone's ebook for free, or a white paper or a guide or a checklist, a webinar is just another thing that could attract your prospect's attention. The good thing with a webinar is it's not just something that you give them, it's something that gets your prospect involved with you and makes you look like the expert. Because if you're presenting a webinar, whether it's for 20 minutes or it's for an hour, if the content's good and you deliver it with confidence, then your prospect is going to see you as an expert. And so that starts to build up that trust and credibility, which is an important part of the sales process in any business. The other thing about webinars, unlike something like a lead magnet, the traditional sort of ebook or something, is at the end of the webinar, you can actually make an offer and people will take up that offer. And it could be something like buying something. Now, if they're buying something that's really expensive, they may not, your uptake may not be as where you'd like it to be. But for a lower opt-in of some sort, you can get customers making that first transaction with you, especially if it's a really exclusive offer that they can only get at that point in time. So, for example, let's say I'm running a webinar for and the benefits of wearing sunglasses, and they're great Ray-Bans. And what I'm going to do is at the end of the webinar, I say, for those of you that are on this webinar, thanks so much. I've got a special treat for you. If you buy a pair of Ray-Bans today, I'll give you another pair for free. But this offer is only available for the next 7.5 minutes. I can bet that if I've done a good webinar about the benefits of wearing these glasses, several people would opt in for that offer. And all of a sudden now I have a stack of people that were just prospects or leads, and I've turned them into customers. And so this is the power of using a webinar as a lead generator. It works really, really well. The other thing that works well for those of you that are in the service-based or professional services industry is that you do an educational webinar, and at the end of that, you then offer people to meet with you one-on-one, whether it's a strategy session on the telephone or over Skype, or it could be a one-on-one meeting. But that has a lot of value to it, right? So they've already seen that you have got knowledge and that you're an expert in your field. And so now that they have seen that, they'll want to meet with you. And so that's another great offer that you can make. So it's good as a lead generator. Idea number 2 is to use a webinar with your existing customers. Now, here's a question I like to ask just about everybody in business. How many of your current customers know 100% of everything that you do? So I'll ask that again. How many of your customers know 100% of everything it is you do? And I can bet you the answer would not be 100%. By doing webinars to your existing customer database, you can start to educate them as to what are the other things that you do as a business. Because your customers are starting to learn about what else it is you offer, and you already have that relationship because you've sold to them in the past, you're more likely to get them to buy from you again. And statistics have shown us that it's 6 times easier to get an existing customer to buy from us again than it is to get a new customer. It's a great way for you to continually communicate with your customer database. If you've got a lot of different products, it could be a way of showcasing a product every month. It could be a way of launching a new product that you've got, which is idea number 3 that I've got written down, is that you could be launching something new. And once again, the existing customers or even potential new customers could come to that webinar. It's just a way for you to use technology in a very leveraged way. Because remember, you can record your webinars and that way they're there forever. So let's say every month you showcase a product. You can then put that webinar online. You can put it on your website. You can make it accessible for people. So, anybody who's looking for that in Google or one of these search engines may come across your webinar. There's a lot of benefits to doing it. You can get the webinar transcripted into a PDF download and repurpose that content. So running these webinars for that purpose is another great tool. The third thing I've got written down here, and the final thing that you can use webinars for, and this works really well if you're some sort of online tech company. Let's say that you teach people how to do Facebook advertising. Well, with webinars, not only can you show a presentation, but you can share your screen. And what that enables you to do is to do live demonstrations. So if you are a software company or you do something technical that involves online stuff, then you can show people how to do stuff. If I was teaching people how to do Facebook marketing, on a webinar, I could log into my Facebook account live and I could set up an ad and I could take you through the actual process as if you were looking over my shoulder at my computer screen. And I think webinars, once again, are hugely underutilized for businesses that are in those fields where they could be showing people how to do that. Even things like, if you might have a phone app or an iPad app that you want to demonstrate, you can broadcast that across your webinar. So there you go. I want you to think about doing them. Now, the best way to get started with webinars is just to pick a date. Sign up for GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar. I'm not paid by them or endorsed by them at all. Maybe, hey, if you're watching GoToWebinar, maybe you should sponsor me. You get your GoToWebinar account. Think about what you could do. Don't overcomplicate it, right? This is what too many people is. They overcomplicate. What am I going to present? Just pick a topic, pick one thing or one frustration that your customers are faced with when dealing with your industry or or what it is that makes them want to deal with your industry, and come up with a webinar. It can be 20 minutes, can be 15 minutes. In fact, with the busy lives these days, we like things to be shorter, a bit like these business tips. And it doesn't matter if only 3 people turn up to your first webinar, at least you've got started. I'm going to finish today's tip off with a quote, as I always do. And this one is by Benjamin Franklin. And he says, if you would like to know the value of money, try to borrow some. Until tomorrow, have a profitable day.